Hey everybody, Tim here with today's episode of Star Trek Voyager, Season 6, Episode 8, One Small Step. So, I remember this episode like from when it first aired as a little kid, and I loved it, I was enamored by it, I thought it was great. Watching as an adult, it didn't quite hold up the same. I tried really hard to enjoy it, but I found the flashback scenes more interesting than the current scenes. So first of all, before I get too far ahead of myself, this episode was directed by Robert Picardo, the guy that plays the Doctor, and this isn't the first episode he's directed, and he does a phenomenal job. It's really well done. And most of this episode, it's kind of split, that it takes place in the present, and it also takes place in the future past of October 2032, which is actually just kind of right around the corner. And it mostly features the amazing actor Phil Morris, who has been in a ton of stuff, and a lot of Star Trek. Like, from the original series, he was one of the kids in the Miri episode, he was in The Search for Spock, he played a Klingon and a Jem'Hadar in Deep Space Nine. Like, he's been in Star Trek a ton, so it's kind of interesting to see him more as himself at this point. And anyways, he plays an astronaut on like a Mars mission, and basically this graviton ellipse, which is this weird phenomenon, basically sucks in his ship, the Ares 4, and he's never heard from again. And like there's a big like controversy, whatever, or it's a very famous incident because the two astronauts on Mars were stuck there for like 2 weeks and blah blah blah. Which, by the way, before I get too far ahead of myself, because there's shout outs everywhere in this episode, at one point before he's sucked in, he's talking to the people on Mars about Buck Bokai and how he just broke DiMaggio's record and stuff like that, which is interesting because that topic was first brought up in The Next Generation, and then that character is in Deep Space Nine. So that's kind of this long-going Star Trek thing. So anyway, Voyager encounters this same phenomenon where this graviton ellipse, where it looks like a big ball, but its subspace energy comes out, and then it's out for a while of subspace, and then it goes back in. So it's really weird. And anyways, as it's chasing Voyager, of course, Seven comes to the rescue and is like, oh, the Borg know how to avoid this. We have to shut off all power and turn on our deflector and blah, blah, blah. And sure enough, it kind of bounces it off. And then Voyager follows it. So while they're following it, they realize that Ares 4 is actually inside of this thing. Just coincidentally, this happens to be the exact same one from 300 years ago. So Chakotay, Paris, and Seven go on an away mission. They go inside. Chakotay is like gung-ho about saving this thing because he's all about history. So of course he's the one that gets injured, and Seven, who doesn't care about this, has to go inside the module to basically get the Delta Flyer back out. And like, I'm boiling this way down because by this point I just kind of stopped caring. And so Seven is kind of wandering around. She gets the data log, she gets the information, and she gets John Kelly's preserved body. It brings it back to the Delta Flyer. They get out, and there's a memorial service for John Kelly about how he's an astronaut hero. Like, overall, I tried so hard to get into this. Like, I could have just watched a whole episode about like Phil Morris's character being stuck in this like phenomenon, but overall, like, I just couldn't get into it. Like, Chakotay just going gung-ho on it and all of that, like, I don't know, I just didn't find it as interesting as I did as a kid. So for those who have seen this one, what did you guys think about like these past future episodes, kind of like First Contact? Go ahead, let me know. Thank you guys for everything, and I will see you guys next time for Voyager Conspiracy.